Hello and welcome back to another episode in our series of 1,000 Evidences for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This one, number 182, will explain how we know that we have a mother in heaven. Bible scholar, theologian, and Protestant minister Margaret Barker, who is not a Latter-day Saint and who is therefore unbiased, has found much evidence that we do indeed have a heavenly mother as well as a heavenly father. The Bible clearly states that the image of God is male and female. That's Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. And since all things were created after their own kind, it follows that a female goddess took part in the creation. The Bible speaks of our heavenly mother as Eve in Genesis chapter 3, verse 20. Adam named his wife, who would later become the mother of all living, after their mother, who was at that time already the mother of all living, the living spirits. In Psalm 45, it states that God's throne is forever and ever, in verse 9, and it speaks of the queen standing at his right hand. Also, the Hebrew word El Shaddai is translated in English as God or Almighty, as in Genesis chapter 17, verse 1, Genesis chapter 35, verse 11, Exodus, Numbers, several other places. Although it can mean destroyer or God of sufficiency and so forth, the etymology of El Shaddai can also be traced back in some verses to the concept of God with breasts. The Hebrew of the Old Testament referred to our mother in heaven as wisdom. That's in Proverbs chapter 8, verses 11 through 36. Mosiah 8, chapter 8, verse 20, or Sophia in the Greek Septuagint. This was not just a personification of an attribute, but an allusion to God's eternal companion. Note that the context speaks far more than the mere personification. Wisdom speaks in the first person, saying that she had been set up from the beginning, verse 23. That she had been brought forth, that's verse 24 and 25. That she was there, verse 27, in a spatial location. She's also quoted as saying that she was by or beside the Lord as one brought up with him, and was always rejoicing before him. That's verse 30. Her delights were with the sons of men. That's verse 31. And refers to them as her children. Verse 32. And says that those who find her findeth life. That's in verse 35. It is not possible to sin against mental wisdom or a personification, but if we sin against a heavenly parent called wisdom, we wrongeth our own soul, as stated in verse 36. Some people knew our mother goddess, the Queen of Heaven, as Asherah, according to Orson Pratt, Journal of Discourses, volume 18, page 292, as given on November the 12th, 1876. She was also known as Ashtoreth, a name which was profaned by pagan cults. As such, her name is attributed to one of the false gods which Solomon honored. That's in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 5, and 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 13. It is a derivative of Esther in the Old Testament, who was named after her mother in heaven. It is interpreted as meaning the concealed God. Esther is derived from the Persian name Stara, meaning star. The name is related to Astarte, the Phoenician name of the primitive Semitic mother goddess, out of which the most important of the Semitic deities were developed. She was known in Arabia as Athtar and in Babylonia as Ishtar. That's according to Jastrow, Journal of Biblical Literature, volume 13, page 28, as noted. Israelites referred to the goddess of peace as Hester Panim, a Hebrew term meaning concealed face. According to Bible scholar Adam Clark, Panim meant face. Some early Christians also used the same name for their heavenly mother. Junius, an early Christian spokesman, referred to the heavenly mother as goddess as Edom. That's according to Philip Schaff, Ante-Nicene Fathers, Notes, and Preface by A. Cleveland Cox. Christian Classics, Ethereal Library, American edition, volume 5, page, as noted. In chapter 21, Justinius, Triad of Principles, the writer described Edom as the spouse of Elohim, and that they produced Adam and Eve as an everlasting seal of their marriage. Some sources suggest that the Creator honored his mate by naming the beautiful garden after her, with some translations substituting an M for the N. The Sumerians in ancient Iraq knew her as Inanna, meaning the Lady of Heaven. That's according to Jeremy Black and Anthony Green in Gods, Demons, and Symbols of Ancient Mesopotamia. University of Texas Press, 1992. And as Ninti, meaning the goddess of life, that's according to Brandy Osset, The Goddess Guide, Exploring the Attributes and Correspondences of the Divine Feminine. First edition, Woodbury, Minnesota, Llewellyn Publications, 2009. Isn't it wonderful that the family of heaven, as mentioned in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 15, is complete and whole as families on earth? This is the doctrine of a mother in heaven, demonstrating the value of womanhood as well as manhood. The gospel is beautiful as well as true. I know it is true. It speaks to my mind and resonates with my very soul. If you wonder about this principle, I would suggest that you pray about it and follow your promptings as you find your way into fellowship with the saints of God. We have much more coming up in future episodes. Don't miss any of them. And remember, call, don't fall. Call on the God who incorporates both male and female in his being. Don't fall for those who worship an incomplete, single, celibate God.